everybody. We have another Zoomer Times interview. It's going to be a hot subject. There's been a lot of news going on, of course, the past month. We have a lot of things to think about, but for those people who want to talk about immigration, you need to have an expert. You don't want to just listen to the people around the pool, because immigration is pretty serious. And we have someone called and his name's Chandler Finley, and he is a partner with Stefania Bologna, so it's Finley and Bologna International, and they specialize in a few things, but mostly immigration. So welcome to our show, Chandler.
Thank you, Anita. Nice to be here.
Yes. You know, Chandler, there has been a lot of news out there, and it seems like the immigration's almost taken a little bit of a back seat right now. But the last time we talked to you, we were talking about green cards and about other things. So let's just assume that the news now is passing and that people are going to get back to wanting green cards or whatever they need to be able to stay here in the United States. So tell us what people have to do.
Well, the biggest problem we still have today is just visiting America. The restrictions are still on from mostly European countries. There are no restrictions from Latin America, South America, or Asian countries, or only a couple like Brazil, South America, where they know they have outbreaks of new COVID strains. But the biggest problem is from Europe. Every European country cannot come to the United States directly without getting a special visa, or without leaving Europe, going somewhere outside Europe for 14 days, and then coming to the United States. So every country that you would normally travel to Europe to go to, Italy, England, France, Germany, Belgium, Spain, they cannot, at this time yet, still, they cannot fly directly to the United States. They, without getting a special exemption, and the exemption is now backed up. It takes about 30, maybe 60 days to get approved for the exception. And the exception is so they don't have to be outside the United States for 14 days, outside of Europe, 14 days before they come to the United States. So we call it the 14-day vacation requirement. You have to leave England, go on vacation for 14 days to Mexico, and then you can come to the United States. And that restriction is still on right now, and that's killing tourism. It's killing investment in America. It's killing business travel, everything. It's a real nightmare. It's a real problem. It's still on. And if you imagine all of the people from Europe that come back and forth during the season, they couldn't come this last Christmas without that restriction being removed. Now, right now it's still on through May 31st, that rule. So the president will have to review it again and see if the health requirements are still high for COVID activity and for the economy also. A lot of them are based on health and economy. So for both reasons, either health or an economy, they're still keeping that rule on right now. So they'll have to review it again by the end of May 31st and see if the summertime they'll open up and we'll have free travel again. That's the major problem we're having right now, is people can't come to visit. They can't go to Disney World, the same thing.
Well, Chandler, let me ask you a question. What was that rule for? Was it COVID? Is that why that was put on?
Originally, yes. Donald Trump issued that on March 31st, back in 2020. So it's been more than a year now that the Europeans have not been able to just get on a plane and come visit the United States. They have to there's also another rule that they have to have a 3-day negative test. Everyone has to have a 3-day negative test to get on a plane. That's a rule that's basically all the countries around the world today. But right now, even if you were from Italy, you travel to, Costa Rica for 2 weeks vacation, you then have to get a 3-day negative test before you come to Miami. And most people don't, they can't just take 2 weeks off and do that. It's been really difficult, really tough for a business and tourism and for families that are just visiting relatives. It doesn't, I mean, if you're an American family, then that's okay, of course, or if you have a green card, you can travel. There's exemptions for that, but there are no exceptions for, removed family, cousins, uncles, things like that. It affects everybody like that.
So Chandler, my question though is, if someone is home now watching this or in their office, where do they even begin? That you know all this, but what do? They call the United States passport, or if they call you, will you take them through this whole thing?
Yes, absolutely. If they have relatives that are overseas that want to come visit, we can assist them with applying for their visa so they can get it at the embassy and come to the United States. Visit their families, the children. I mean, if there's children of American citizens here, those children are able to come with exceptions. So it's only from the outside the immediate family, cousins and uncles, things like that, or even further. But if people are here in the U.S. and they either have a visa that expires soon, they're on a tourist visa expiring, and they can't travel for COVID reasons, they can't find a flight, they can't go back to their home country, because there's some countries that are shutting down right now, even in Europe, or other countries that are having problems. And so they need to get an extension of their time here in the U.S. We can file an extension of their tourist visa for 6 more months, up to 6 months. It has to be filed before their time expires. They got to come see me before it expires, not afterwards. And then we can assist them. If they want to stay and work in the U.S., then they may be eligible to apply for a work visa. Right now, there are good visas if you're a medical professional, a nurse, or something like that. There are visas for them. There are some visas for engineers, professionals that just went by in April 1st, and right now they're not available anymore. But there are other visas like investor visas if people are buying, or you're buying a home here, you want to make an investment, things like that we can help people with. But just buying a home may not qualify you for a visa to stay longer than a tourist visa.
Okay, let me interrupt you and give everybody some information, because I know they're probably saying, well, how do I get in touch with Chandler Finley? All right, get your pencils out. It's 561-478-9930. Okay, everybody, write that down. Write it on a notebook. Don't put it on a yellow sticky, you'll lose it. Chandler Finley, 561-478-9930. His office is in Miami, but he also has one in Wellington, but he can handle a lot of these things over the telephone. And so he also, of course, his partner is Stefania Bologna, but if you just call this number, you'll be able to get help. So that's really important. And write it down, tell your friends, and don't have to stay in another country if you want to come here, even if you want to come on a vacation, because now the cruise ships are going to start to open up, I think in June, aren't they, Chandler? Or is that still being on hold?
Yeah. The cruise ships are closed until, you're right, in June. And they're waiting for also to make sure that America is going to keep that, that's all, I guess, handled by the government, the U.S. government, as to whether to allow them to go in and out. So if they're COVID free, or if the United States can be, better on the vaccinations and all that kind of stuff, then maybe they will release the ban on the ships. Right now, they're all still parked here in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, and a lot of them are parked off the coast, so they're just anchored, sitting and waiting. We have a lot of clients as tourists and but a lot of people that work on the ships too. All the actors and musicians and the crew, they're all just out of work waiting for the ship to start again.
Do they stay on the ship while they're waiting?
Some are staying on the ship, but a lot of them now they went back home and they're staying at home, and they are having problems getting visas also to come back to the United States, because they know that the ship's not cruising yet. So they can't even get a visa to come to Miami to get on the ship. Not yet. it's all it's still having problems with immigration on those issues for visiting and for getting to your jobs. There are certain industries which the United States has identified, industries like medical industries, the military industries, transportation industries, manufacturing industries, where the embassies are more likely to give you a temporary visa to come visit for business purposes, for meetings, but they're not, for instance, allowing regular managers to come, sales managers to visit the sales offices in the US. They're not allowing that, but they want, like the owners, the investors that really have businesses that are involved in those sectors, to allow them to come visit their factories, visit their installations, maybe, sign big contracts and things like that. We have a lot of stores like Italian furniture stores, and the managers can't come to visit the stores because it's really not necessary if you think about it. There's still a lot of restrictions on business visitors. It's hurting a lot of businesses in the U.S. and they're all ready to get on with the year 2021. Hopefully, it's going to get better, a lot better this year with COVID going down and vaccinations around. But they're still having a hard time traveling. We really hope it's going to open up in May or June for sure.
So Chandler, my question is, let's say you have a client and also all these problems are part of the thing. Do you have to go before a judge to help get it done? How do you get it done?
Well, most of the applications for our clients that are legally here and they're doing extensions or work permits, those are all by mail. There's no, even immigration right now is skipping a lot of the interviews where they might have interviewed people, but they're still doing some, they have cutbacks on how many people they can show up at immigration. So they'll have interviews for like a marriage case where an American's marrying a foreigner, and we have to file those applications by mail. And then they have an interview in 6 to 10 months where they'll approve them for the green card. Things take that long. But if someone has a deportation case, they're illegal, for instance, or they, for whatever reason, their visa expired, they didn't leave, and immigration put them in deportation, then I would go to, it's called immigration court in Miami. There's only one court in this area, it's in Miami. However, most of my cases now that were scheduled for 2021 have been postponed until 2023. Not even next year. They're basically closed down. They're not having any hearings at all. And so now it's been postponed until 2023. So someone that maybe, shouldn't be here, or even if they're on deportation, but we have a way to get them out, they're either married to an American or they have a work permit or some other relief that they're eligible for, we can't even apply for it until 2023. Now,
so do they just stay here, or can they be put into jail? What happens to them?
Well, I mean, if it's a criminal case, then that could possibly mean jail or detention. I don't really handle those kind of criminal cases. Most of my clients, it's mostly paperwork. Their visa expired, and for whatever reason they couldn't leave, and now the immigration through the mail has sent their case to deportation court, basically saying, listen, if you don't have a visa, your time here is expired, you need to either stay with an application, do something, or go. And that's what the courts are for. It's not, I find that the judges in immigration court are not anti-immigration. They're not negative at the hearings. They're just saying, listen, if you have something to apply for, let me know, apply for it. We'll give you time to file it. But if you don't have anything, then you really have to, leave and go back home to your home country.
That's so interesting, Chandler. When I talk to you, it's like, wow. And maybe I want to jump ahead now and talk about the dreamers. We don't hear much about that. I thought that Biden was going to make this put through the Congress that they'll all be okay. What's happening there?
Well, the Dreamers, the one thing that Trump had made the Dreamers visas expire. I think it was supposed to expire in June this year. And as soon as Biden came in, he extended that for 2 years.
Okay.
And he can continue to extend them every, in the 2-year period, they extend it every 2 years. So that's extended for the Dreamers. And also the Haitians that are here from their earthquake that was in 2010, they're on what's called temporary protective status, it's TPS. So they're kind of in the same category as the Dreamers, at different reasons why they're here, they can't go back. But that's all been extended by Biden. And the only issue is, of course, it's going to take Congress to make a new law to change the Dreamers and give them a right to apply for actually the green card in their situation. And then after the green card for 5 years, maybe they can apply for U.S. citizenship. But Congress right now, as you know, it's a majority in the House of Representatives, but the Senate is a 50-50. And immigration is such a hot topic that Biden now is a little afraid if he pushes immigration to the Senate, he doesn't know even if it's 50-50 and the Vice President Kamala Harris can do the one extra vote to break the tie, then they can get some immigration legislation passed. But they're afraid to submit some of the legislation because they think that the Senate might not be 50-50 on immigration.
But Chandler, my guest is Chandler Finley. I just want to tell everybody that again. And he is the founder of a law firm called Finley, and it's called, let me just do this exactly correct. It's really Finley and Bologna International. They have an office in Miami and in Wellington. But, and I'll give you the phone number again. It's 561-478-9930. But Chandler, there's a difference, I thought, in Dreamers and the immigration problem down on the border. The Dreamers, aren't they the people who are, most of them anyway, they're executives, they're workers, they're college students. So why would they not let them go through compared to the ones down on the border?
Well, the people coming in the border, they're not really letting them in. I mean, they are giving them appointments to apply for asylum. That's what their refugee status, asylum status.
Right.
Totally different, very different. The people under Dreamers basically are those that came in as children with your parents, for instance, under age 18, whether you came in illegally or legally, meaning you came in an airport with a visa with your parents, or you came on a boat from Haiti, for instance, but you were a minor. And so those minors then went to school and completed their school, and now they're ready to go to college. And if they go to a private college, they can pay and go. If they go to a public college, because of the rules of schools, you have to have student visas. So they couldn't get student visas, but some of the schools let them go anyway. And they're here now, they're part of society. A lot of them don't speak even their foreign languages. They only speak English. So that's a very, very different group of individuals.
Why would the people be against that? Why would the congressman be against that? Isn't that better for the United States to have productive people like this?
Well, the ideal is that theoretically those people, however they came in, legally or not legally, they stayed and then became a violation of the U.S. immigration law because whatever reason, they overstayed their time or they came into the U.S. illegally. That was their violation. So they shouldn't be here in the U.S. They should leave. The fact that they're, it's really, that's why it's the children, that it's no fault of the children that they, came to the United States. Their parents brought them. They were babies or they brought them, as toddlers, whatever. They didn't know where they're going. They just came to the United States. So now they've gone all through high school and graduated and they have jobs. So they're productive, theoretically citizens of the United States, they feel they are, and then now all of a sudden they're being told they're being deported. But, and then the question is, so what about the parents? So the parents are still illegal. Do you give the parents the right to stay here because they came in, violated the law, and the children also violated the law because they were the parents? So how far down or up do you go and give the benefits? Some people say, well, it's the parents' fault that they brought them here legally. They didn't do the right thing, apply for a visa and get the paperwork done. So you shouldn't give the benefit to the children just because the parents made a mistake or it was intentional or not intentional. They should have left and come back again and gotten a visa. So why, now there's a long history of that they call it the anchor baby, where you come to the United States as a foreigner and you have an American child born here in America. That was one of the laws that Donald Trump said he wanted to change. If you had a child that was born in America, it's not necessarily an American citizen. The Constitution says that if there's a child, anyone born in the United States is American citizen. So there, you can't change that without a constitutional change. But the point is, even for two foreigners that come to the United States, they have a child that's born here. The parents then go back to their home country. Eventually, now that child has to be 21 years old before they can apply for their parents. So it's a really long-term immigration plan for it to be they call the anchor baby, that if that child's born here, 21 years later, that child can apply for his parents. But then the parents can apply for their other children, the parents can apply for their siblings, their parents, and that's what people are so afraid of, that because 21 years goes by pretty quick if you think about it. But we're talking about generations before us today that have had babies in America, and that's their anchor baby as to their whole line of their family coming to the United States.
But Chandler, so are they paying taxes? Are the dreamers paying taxes at their jobs and where they are? And
well, that's before 9/11, before 2004, actually, when some of the rules changed after 9/11, so getting a Social Security number was pretty easy. You could just apply for it and you get one and you pay your taxes. But now after 9/11 and Social Security and the work permits and driver's license, it's all focused around immigrants getting a work permit, getting a job. So you can't even get a Social Security number now. So a lot of those dreamers don't have Social Security numbers. They never had it when they came with their children. And the IRS won't give them a tax ID number, even if they're making money and they want to pay their tax sometimes. And so if they don't have a tax ID number, they don't have a Social Security number, they can't even file their taxes and pay their tax. Of course, the companies that maybe they're working for are paying them cash and they're not paying their taxes. Or maybe they're paying them as a 1099, which is as a contractor, and then they're responsible to pay their own tax, but they can't get a tax ID number or a Social Security number. So that's a problem. And yes, the dreamers now, since they filed what's called the Dreamer Act. So if they have a Dreamer ID, then they can get a Social Security number, they can pay their taxes. So all the dreamers are paying their taxes and all the TPS people are paying their taxes. Whereas it's different. All the people coming across the border in Mexico, from Mexico, they're maybe applying for asylum or refugee status. They don't get a work permit right away for the first 6 months. The idea is their case is supposed to be decided in 6 months, and then they're supposed to return to their home country if they're not going to be eligible for asylum. But a lot of those people come into the US, and what do? They're trying to find jobs, and maybe they don't have a Social Security number, they're getting paid cash, and they're not paying their taxes. So that's always an issue, whether you want to give those jobs to them in America.
This sounds so complicated. So Chandler, are you sure, is the country short of judges to do this? I mean, it sounds like there must be a big holdup.
That's right. Now, one of the things started under Trump presidency and continuing under Biden is they have hired it's amazing the numbers, about 1,000 or more of immigration judges just to help these cases. But before COVID, even when they were starting to hire more judges, they were pressuring the judges to push as many cases as they can out of their courts. And the judges refuse to do that in many instances because it takes time. They can't just have an expedited procedure. They have to give everybody their rights, give them an opportunity to apply for whatever they might be eligible for. An eligible time to apply for asylum, to have a hearing, to go through the evidence of asylum. If they can claim any what's called political persecution or social or discrimination in their home country, then they can apply to come and stay in the United States. But that, those things take a lot of time. It takes, the court was having maybe 30 to 60 people every day in their courtroom, and they couldn't get through 30 people, and their courtroom was full every day. And so they just couldn't get through the numbers that were being scheduled for them. And it's unfortunate that America is still the greatest country on the earth. And whenever you talk to people outside, we're still, the American dream is still where everybody wants to come. They want to come here no matter what. They want to send their children to America, even without them. They know that their children will somehow, even if they're in custody, in the cages or wherever they are in America, wherever they're being held in detention or something, they're going to be able to at least have medical care and food and not be discriminated against and those kind of things. But they're not going to have immigration for a while until someone applies for them. It's really difficult.
Well, I know we're going to be running out of time, and I wonder if you ever thought about why did you become a professional in immigration? You've been doing this. How many years have you been practicing? 30?
It's 30 years now. That's right. So,
yeah.
I started immigration because most of my clients were foreign clients, either from Palm Beach County and Palm Beach Island and just all of our clients. I know that so all those clients, because they're foreigners, they're doing business here, and then eventually they all needed visas and green cards. You used to, when you did real estate a long time ago, you had a lot of Venezuelan clients.
Yes.
And the Venezuelan clients now, there's a special TPS, temporary protective status for Venezuelans, that they don't have to go back to Venezuela because of the political situation in Venezuela. They can stay here and apply for a special work permit to stay, work, and live in America for the next 18 months until there's a political settlement in Venezuela. The U.S. government is having problems with the government of Venezuela still, and there's 2 presidents in Venezuela, 2 separate governments running in Venezuela. It's real chaos down there.
Well, Chandler, we've just hit the time when we have to say goodbye, but I want everyone to know Chandler Finley. Phone number is 561-478-9930, and that's a very important phone call to make and get your life in order if you're having any immigration problems. Finley and Bologna International. Thank you, Chandler. I learned so much when you get on. I'm sure our listeners do too.
Thank you very much. Next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.